Chop an onion and your eyes water. Sit through the last 10 minutes of a film that wrecks you and your eyes water too. Same eyes, same salty liquid, and yet those two sets of tears are not the same thing at all. One is nearly pure water. The other is carrying stress hormones, a natural painkiller your body makes under strain, and a mood mineral packed in at 30 times the level found in your blood. When you cry from grief, you are not leaking. You are excreting. That is the claim William H. Frey made back in the early 1980s, and I find it one of the stranger, more overlooked ideas in all the research I have gone through. Frey was a biochemist in Minnesota, and he did something almost comically simple. He collected two kinds of tears and put them side by side. For the irritant tears, he needed something reliable. He eventually settled on freshly grated white onion. For the emotional tears, he sat people in front of sad films and waited. What came back from the lab is worth the detail. The emotional tears held a fifth more protein than the onion tears. They carried ACTH, one of the most reliable stress signals in the body, the thing that tells your system to pump out cortisol. They carried prolactin. They carried leucine-enkephalin, an endorphin, a painkiller close to morphine that your body produces when you are hurting. And they carried manganese, a mineral tied to mood at those 30-fold concentrations. The onion tears carried almost none of this. The difference was not noise. It looked like a body actively clearing something out. So Frey asked a plain question. If emotional crying does nothing physical, why did nature bother building it? And why only in us? Every air-breathing animal makes tears to keep the eye wet. Elephants do it, apes do it. But as far as anyone has been able to show, no other animal cries from grief. Elephants clearly mourn, they stand over their dead. They just do not weep the way we do. Something about the human system evolved a specific chemical exit that the rest of the animal world skipped. Here is where it opens out past the article and where it lands for me. Crying is not only about the chemicals leaving, it is about what the act of crying does to your nervous system. When you first break down, your body is in arousal. Heart racing, breath ragged, the fight-or-flight machinery running hot. But a few minutes after the tears stop, something flips. Heart rate drops. Breathing slows and deepens. Blood pressure comes down. That is the vagus nerve taking over, the body's own reset, pulling you out of survival mode and into something calmer. The glands that make your tears are wired mostly to that calming system in the first place. Crying, in other words, is not the storm. Crying is how the storm ends. If you have found this useful so far, a thumbs up genuinely helps this kind of work reach other people. And subscribing means the next one of these deep dives finds its way to you. Now put those two things together, the chemical clearance and the nervous system reset, and you get a picture that fits everything else I keep circling in this project. The body as a receiver, consciousness as something we tune into rather than manufacture. On that model, a good cry is maintenance. You flush the stress chemistry and you switch on the calming system at the same time, and the receiver comes back into tune. It is why insight so often arrives right after tears, not during them. The clearing happens first, and then what was blocked becomes reachable. The clue that convinces me most is what happens when this goes wrong. In healthy people, crying produces that vagal rebound, the calming swing on the far side of the tears. In people who are depressed, it often does not. They cry and the reset never fires. The tears may still carry the chemicals out, but the nervous system does not follow with its recovery. And there is a darker thread underneath that. Some chronically depressed people show raised manganese in brain tissue at autopsy, the very mineral crying seems to help remove. You can see the shape of a feedback loop there. The clearing weakens, the mood chemistry builds, the mood sinks lower, the clearing weakens further, which puts a heavy weight on all the ways we are taught to hold it in. The research on suppression is not gentle. People who habitually swallow their tears show higher rates of high blood pressure, heart disease, ulcers, and colitis. People born with a condition that stops them making tears altogether cope noticeably worse with stress. If Frey is right, then telling someone to stop crying is not just asking them to hide a feeling. It is asking them to shut down a physical maintenance system, to keep the stress chemistry in and keep the nervous system stuck in alarm. Frey's core finding that emotional tears differ chemically from reflex tears has held up. What has not happened is full replication of the detox story. Ad Vingerhoots, probably the leading crying researcher alive, put it neatly. It has not been disproven, but it is telling that it has not been replicated either. Some researchers think the social side of tears, the way weeping pulls care out of the people around us, is the more important function. The honest answer is that both could be true at once. Tears might clear the body and call for help in the same moment. What stays with me is the simplest version of it. Your body built a way to cry, laced it with the chemistry of stress and the chemistry of relief, and handed that ability to us and to no other creature we know of. That does not look like an accident. It looks like a system taking care of itself, and taking care of whatever it is that a clear, calm body lets us reach. If you want the full picture, the hormones, the manganese, the vagal science, and how it ties into the wider receiver model, the complete article is over at consciousnesspartnership.com.